Hello and welcome to Building Solid Foundations. I am your host, Steve Matley, president of Coast to Coast Equities. This is a show where we try to help you build the solid foundations for your legacy, your leadership, and your life. And I am joined today by two lovely ladies who do exactly that every day in their working world. On my left is Kimberly Whitfield. She is co-founder of Solar Brokers, and she is a host of Finest Women in Real Estate and host of a new show of her very own called Conscious Consumerism. Welcome.
Thank you, Steve.
On my right is Marie Waite. Marie Waite is the producer and executive producer of a handful of shows here on EAN TV, this network, including Finest Women in Real Estate, Real Men of Real Estate, The Business Doctor, this show, Building Solid Foundations, and a handful of other shows that she has in the works that you'll be seeing soon, including with Kimberly's show. Welcome, Marie.
Hi, Steve. Thank you.
It's fantastic to have two beautiful women on either side of me. I always wanted to spend my life surrounded by beautiful women, so thank you for that. My original prayer for that was answered by having daughters. So, Kimberly, I first met you when you were a guest on Finest Women in Real Estate, and I was one of the recurring hosts on that show when we were talking about your solar business. And then you actually became a host of Finest Women in Real Estate. And now that seems to be going pretty well because you're starting your own show. Tell us about that.
I am. So it's been quite a journey. It's been a wonderful treat to be able to work with amazing people like you all in this journey that I'm on. So I'm always really passionate about educating people about everything, and especially I'm in solar, right? So educating people about what they can do to change their world that will change our greater world. And so conscious consumerism, I really just want to educate people and create awareness around what they can do, what little things or big things they can do to just make their little dent, which overall, collectively, makes a big dent in the world.
So when you say conscious consumerism, is this having to do with sustainability, ethics? What are we talking about with consumerism? How does that look?
Really all of it, but my big focus is obviously our world. I mean, if you think about, we've just become consumers of everything, right? I mean, you think about an Amazon package that gets shipped and another package in the same day. They're all separately shipped. So, I mean, what could we do to change that? To change, still having the convenience, yet not putting such a big dent in our world, cutting down all these trees, just making smarter choices that are both better for our health, our being, and our world.
Okay, and this is a show that you have in the work, and you're kind of putting everything together right now, I assume.
Yes.
What's involved in doing something like that?
Well, thankfully, I have some amazing experts in that arena. So obviously, it's figuring out guests who I'm going to have on. What's the focus going to be? There's a lot of financial numbers to work out and to look at as well, and there's a lot to it. But it's great to have amazing support. I've learned so much, and I'm so excited that I get to continue to learn and work alongside some amazing people.
So speaking of learning about how to do this and getting amazing support, that leads us to Marie.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned Marie is responsible for many of the new shows that have been on this network. I believe you started Finest Women in Real Estate back in August of just last year.
That's right.
How many episodes do you have up right now?
Over 30.
Over 30 episodes.
Yes.
And Real Men in Real Estate, that came about as a spin-off. I believe there was a conversation about how come there's not one of these for men.
That's correct.
And so we said, great, we'll do another show, and became Real Men of Real Estate. Now, I actually helped you with Finest Women in Real Estate as a host early on.
Yes.
We started Real Men of Real Estate, so I had to move over to that. And now I've got this show that you helped me get started. You also helped The Business Doctor get started.
Yes, Dr. Stephen Callalooey.
Okay, so, and you have multiple shows. Tell us about some of the other shows you have in the works.
Well, one is, of course, I'm working with Kimberly right now for her show. I'm very excited about that. But I do have a stand-up comedian who is really getting ready to put together everything, and it's just a matter of time of starting his show. And then I have another health fitness instructor, and she is already working on all her documents. We will be also already talking to people about her show, so we're in that stage. And then I have a fashion model who is really famous in San Diego, and she's also looking into having her own TV show. I have several people that I'm already talking to, but I don't want to just spill out everything. But right now, I'm just very excited that I'm able to do this for a lot of people and put together the show for them.
So we're going to move beyond just the real estate and business type shows. You've
Yes.
got, sounds like you have fashion, you have personal wellness, you have entertainment, all that coming in to give a little more variety to these shows.
Yes, exactly.
And how did you get started? Now I asked that knowing full well how we got started in TV because I helped you with the very first thing we did in TV. Tell us a little story about your first foray into doing TV for finance women in real estate.
Are you talking about the reality
Yes.
show? Okay. Well, I remember working with 5 real estate agents, and trying to figure out what's the best way to promote them because they are just very generous to help me out in taking care of some of my clients at that time because I'm also a licensed agent. And then I was watching some of the TV shows about getting the maximum exposure, and I was looking at TV, and then I realized I really want people to understand what the behind the scenes of the real estate professionals, because there are a lot of things that they have to deal with, in regards to safety, in regards to problems within the transactions and dealing with other people that are just really hard to work with. So I want them to understand how hard it is for a real estate agent to be in this business. So I decided I wanted to do a reality show, and that's when I reached out to you and talked to you about it. And I pulled together about a group of investors, and I interviewed 100 real estate agents, and from there, I was able to really fulfill all the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. So
Yes.
we co-executive produced that and co-created
That's right.
that. And we actually did a red carpet premiere in Hollywood at the ArcLight Theater. We invited
Yes.
industry people. It
That
was
was
a
great.
lot of fun to do. What that led to eventually was kind of understanding that's a very high budget and very difficult to get placed, but you have to build a following first. And that's where we started talking about doing something more like a talk show to get some traction on that, which led to all this going on.
Yes.
And of course, that leads to the byproducts of that, which is meeting so many amazing people we've done, like Kimberly, who came on board. And now we're able to work with her to help her build up a new show and get her message out there. And then Kimberly, your original message was really solar energy, which is obviously a green, sustainable technology issue. You're expanding that into something much larger. And I think conscious consumerism, I think you mentioned kind of, let's think about how we get things delivered and consolidate some of these things. Let's get a few trucks off the road. But does it also have to do with the choices of what we choose to buy as this brand versus that brand?
Absolutely, yeah. So I research everything, and I'm super passionate about just knowing, being conscious about what am I purchasing. I'm voting with my dollars every time I purchase something, and so helping other people, because I always have people asking me because they know I'm a big researcher. So I always have people asking me like, "What are you getting? What are you doing?" But yes, it's the clothes you buy. Where are they sourced? How are they produced? What are the facilities that they're made in look like? As far as are you buying plastic water bottles? Just there's so much that we can do to reduce our footprint and help have less trash and less stuff out there. That's what I want people to know. I just want to create awareness around you can have all the conveniences and even more than you have now. People just don't know. Like, we don't know. I didn't know until I went out and figured it out. So it can be better than it is, and we can be doing better for our world and for our future.
Okay, and some people, we get caught in this idea that there's this end and this end. But sometimes taking a few small steps this way is all that's necessary. Everybody took a few steps that way. We wouldn't even notice the difference too much. But all of a sudden there's a big overall impact positively.
Or you would notice the difference, but it would be for the better.
For the
How
better,
about that?
right. So we're going to have to take a short break here. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the new shows coming up, what drives the idea for new shows, and what does it take if you wanted to put your own show together? What does that involve? I'm Steve Matley. This is Building Solid Foundations, and we're going to be right back after this short message.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
You made your house a reality. Homeschooling your cell phone loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Hello and welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. I am your host, Steve Matley, president of Coast to Coast Equities. Today I am joined by two lovely ladies on either side of me, Kimberly Whitfield and Marie Waite, and we are discussing some of the new TV shows coming up, including Kimberly's new TV show. Marie, when we went to the break, we were talking, we kind of said we were going to talk a little bit about what does it take to get a TV show going. And what I mean by that is you have been very prolific over the last year at getting a pretty good number of TV shows up and running, even the ones that aren't even produced yet, but they're in the works. And so what are you looking for? Are these people that just call you up and say, hey, Marie, I want to be on TV. How do I get on there? How does this work?
Well, I've been doing a lot of events in the past, and so I have been connected to a lot of talents and performers for some of the community events I've done. So I know some of the people that are already talented, and they've been working so hard on their career, but they haven't had any success in their career. So like, for example, I was telling you about the stand-up comedian. I've known him for years, where he is so talented. It's just that he hasn't had the break to get into something bigger. So I thought I opened the door for him, and I've talked to him about just having a TV show, and he loved the idea.
So it showcases all of his talents, not just a stand-up comic, but as a TV show host and being able to showcase other people.
Yes, it's a very creative way of promoting their talents. Like, I understand that most of the TV shows, you have to have a host, and they have to be very articulate. They can speak well and communicate well. But at the same time, I'm looking for someone who has talents already, that they can also do all of those things. And that is a perfect combination for a TV show.
Okay, and I do know that of the people that you have worked with, very, very few are people that came to you with an idea for a TV show. There are people instead that you approached who had no clue of ever going on TV. They had never thought of it until you talked to them and worked with them and said, you have a unique knowledge base, skill, talent, value system, something to share that needs to be exposed.
That's correct. I'm very observant of all the people that I surround myself. And when I see talents and skills, I really can find a way to creatively use those talents and skills. I've worked with them in all kinds of projects, but at the same time, I have the TV show. So I envision them in so many different ways, where not only they're performing, I can also see them being a host of a TV show. And so that's where my ideas come in, and I approach them. I'm very selective, by the way, but when I do target some people that are very good, very talented, and I can see that they have the potential of being a TV host, then I approach them.
Now, I know a lot of them started as guests. You just approached them and said, would you like to be a guest on a show? And then as you worked with them and they gained some more confidence, you figure, you know what, I think you may want to consider having your own showcase to talk about.
Well, part of what I'm looking for is their personality and drive. If I am very attracted to the way who they are, their character, and the way they communicate with people, and it gives me a lot of interest, then I go ahead and I can see them as a potential TV host.
Okay. Now, Kimberly, you came on originally as a guest, and then you became a host. Now you're looking at doing your own show. In your mind, what does it take to be successful coming into a studio and talking to a group of people you can't even see? We're in the studio, it's just us and cameras, but really there's a lot of people out there watching us right now, and they're really sitting with us at the table. And we have to keep that in mind, but it's different when you can't see them. So how does that work? What do you think it takes to make that work?
Well, to even get on a set and be a part of a show, I think it takes willingness to just kind of dive in, especially if it's something you're not trained in or haven't done before. But I think just the energy in the room is important, right? What would you all want to know? I'm sure everyone else wants to know the same thing. So it's easy to communicate, with the others on the show, and then also be communicating with the audience. But what would I want to know? What am I passionate about? What do I want people to know? And so, and I know what people ask me all the time, like on social media and in interaction with them. I know people know my expertise, and they know, like, I research a lot of things and I'm very passionate about certain things. And so they're always asking me. So I kind of have a feel for what people would want to know. So that's what I always want to talk about. It's exciting to talk about it.
Okay, and is that what you're looking for when you're looking for guests for your upcoming show? How do you profile the kind of person you would want to ask to come into the studio?
Absolutely. So my thought is to bring on people who are passionate about their products or their area of expertise, so that they can adequately educate people on what this shift would mean for them, but how it would also help them in their home, in their lives, with their health, whatever it is. So maybe owners of companies, people who represent companies, new products that have been out for a while, services, everything. But the people who can really be that source of wisdom around that product or service or whatever it is.
I think that's a very important point. I know a lot of people, you see they put up video snippets, they do their own homemade TV shows, they do the live cast, those type of things, or they start their own shows. And I find that the difference in what makes a show something you want to watch and participate in versus not tends to be when the person doing the show has gone from the receiving or getting mode, I want to do this because I want to do TV, to the giving mode. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to educate people. I want to share with people. I want to make their lives better. Yeah. You can palpably feel that, and you can tell that they are there to share and give. That's part of that conscious consumerism you're talking about is reaching out, helping other people.
Absolutely,
it's a bigger idea. And Marie, I know that's been something you've had a unique talent with, is finding those people that don't even know enough about themselves to know that they can do this, that they have something so important to share. Yes. And trying to find a way to highlight them and share that message with other people who desperately need to hear that.
Yes, I remember talking to one of my potential hosts, and she said, I'm afraid to be in front of the camera. I don't know if why would they want to watch me? And the way I explained it to her is that it's really more what you wanted to do for others. If you think about them, not think about yourself, think about what you can do for others. That is the focus of the show. So, and that helps you forget about yourself and just think about what can you do for this person, or what can you do for the people that are listening to your show. And that's really the main thing. And then, they start changing their mind about, yeah, you're right, Marie, that makes me feel better by getting into creating a TV show.
And it takes away the self-consciousness because you're not worried about yourself anymore.
Exactly.
You're more worried about how do I effectively communicate to this other people who need to know what I have to share and what my guests have to share. Because you could become a facilitator of a lot of different ideas that need to be out there to other people.
And your experience will actually draw a lot of great things for the discussion because you have that experience. But you're not thinking about yourself on how you would look in front of the camera. You're thinking about what can you share to the discussion in order to help other people. So it really changes the way you look at things.
Yeah, I notice the shows we've done here, we tend to get new guests and they tend to be a little nervous initially.
Yes.
I don't blame them. They're on TV. And then this show goes out nationwide and beyond. And they worry about that until the conversation gets going. And once the conversation gets going, they forget all about cameras, they forget they're on a show, and it's a conversation between friends who are just sharing information back and forth to help each other out. It becomes a collaboration is what it is.
Well, everybody knows that when they get into the TV show, they know that they already have their number one cheerleader, which is me. Because the reason why they're in the show, because I admire them already, and I love what they do and who they are. So when they start the show and they're nervous, I just talk to them and let them know that, hey, I'm here for you, you're good, you're the best, and they feel good about that.
Yeah, and that's an important point, is that you don't have to be trained in a degree in communications to be able to come on and do this. It probably doesn't hurt. But most people we found that do really well at this are just people that have the message to share, and they've been encouraged to do
Yes.
it well. And honestly, a few episodes in, they get really comfortable with it, and now again, they're really focused on what do I need to share with people.
Yes. I remember we had a professional photographer, and he was nervous, but he was an incredible photographer, and you were the host at that time, and you were able to help him bring out the information of how good he is as a photographer. He's not very, good with words, but by you asking the question and helping him with what he needs to share, and that makes a big difference.
And we need to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation and wrap things up. This is Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley, and we'll be right back.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
You made your house a reality. Homeschooling yourself on loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today I'm joined by Kimberly Whitfield and Marie Waite, and we've been talking about some of the other shows coming up on this network and how people get into this that don't necessarily have formal training in it. And Kimberly, you are a prime example of someone probably had no intention of coming on TV. I know the first time you were a guest, you were just here as a guest. You end up working your way into being a host. Now you're starting your own show. But what I see is you're a successful business person, you have a positive message to share with people, and you have a personality that comes through on the television. So tell us a little about, encourage other people that may be thinking things, that they didn't know if they could ever do this.
Totally. I mean, coming on the show, I was definitely nervous. It was something I had never done before. It does get easier as you get into the conversation. It's really just like a little round table. You're just having a conversation. And then when Marie asked me to be a host, well, I've never hosted. She's like, well, I think you're kind of a natural. Okay, well, let's give it a go. And then in getting more comfortable being a host of a show, I found myself being inspired to sort of share what I'm really passionate about. And of course, with solar, with changing the world and helping people to just know how to do it better. I felt comfortable doing that because I had such a great support system and just amazing mentors around me. And so I would say, if somebody else, whatever you want to do, at least be open, to coming on, to trying it out, and you can do anything. I mean, anybody can do anything if they're passionate about it. I really feel strongly about that.
Great. And Marie, I know you've got all these other shows coming up, and I know you've sought people out and asked them if they were interested in having a show put together. But what I like about what you do is you're not just throwing people in front of a camera, you make sure everything you do is with quality. We do it in a professional studio. We have top quality technicians working with us. It's professionally produced. It's distributed. It's not a homemade video type thing at all. It's professionally done. And that's key to a lot of what you're doing is if you're going to do it with quality. So tell me a little bit about the drive and I guess your final thoughts on what you want to share with people that may be thinking, I wonder if I could do that.
I think when they feel that they have a very strong message or they have talents and skills that needs, branding or they need people to see it, I think it's good for them to connect with me because, part of what I do is I try to put them in a place where it's perfect for what they're trying to achieve. So if they want branding, then we have to create a way to introduce them to the community, and media is one of them. TV show is one of them, but that might not be the perfect one for them. So I just need to evaluate where they're at with their goals. But it could be a magazine, it could be a radio show, it could be a TV show. So it just depends on where they're at with their goals.
Great. Yeah. So in summation, you can do this but do it right. And make sure you have a message to share with other people. This is about giving to others. I want to thank our guest, Kimberly Whitfield. She is co-founder of Solar Brokers, and she is a host of Finest Women in Real Estate and the upcoming show Conscious Consumerism. Thank you, Kimberly, for being here. Marie Waite, our producer and executive producer of most of the shows here on this network and more to come, and producer of this show. Thank you for the help you've done putting this together for me. To everybody out there, part of building your solid foundation is building your message. And what do you have to share that other people need to help them build their solid foundation in their life? Think about that, and you may have something that needs to go on television as well. I'm Steve Matley, your host, president of Coast to Coast Equities, and we're going to see you next time on Building Solid Foundations.